Hi, my name is Marlene McCarty. I am an artist. I live in New York City. I've lived there since 1983. I have been practicing art in New York for somewhere between 35 and 40 years. I began my practice with a series of work that was created by ironing language I heard on the street that was yelled at me onto the canvas. After that followed a series that became known as the Murder Girls, and it was basically young adolescent women who, kind of constrained by the pressures of the domestic and in competition with their mother, they basically murdered their mothers. And then I kind of branched into primates, of which there are 3 drawings in this exhibition. I really was thinking a lot about shared DNA and how much we share with every living creature on this earth. I just became a little fascinated by the closeness of our shared programming. And then I started to work with plants. I'll be quite honest, the thing that sparked my engagement with plants was the election of Donald Trump the first time. There was a lot of upheaval the first time he was elected. Lots of street protests, lots of dissatisfied people, especially women and people of color and transgender and any kind of mild twist on the traditional male, white female. Oh my gosh, the complaining of the white guys around losing their power. The Me Too movement flourished. All of this flourished. I was actually running the BFA program at NYU at the time, and the students were like, all right, time is here, we're changing. The curriculum has to change. And I was like, you know what? You're absolutely correct. So I started that process in the university. And oh my God, the complaining of the guys in the department that had been there for decades was just I was like, I just wish I could give them something to put them out of their misery. And it's literally from that line of thinking that I was like, traditionally poison is the woman's weapon. And then I started to think about how many plants are readily available that could provide that kind of self-defense or protection. In this exhibition, they will find a large earthwork with a sculpture of grow lights. The shape of the grow lights are actually an homage to the healing geometries used by Emma Kunz in her healing practice. And within the earthwork is a collection of plants that grow here in the Basque Country. Some are indigenous, some come from other areas, but they all have long histories of interaction with humans in the Basque Country. And they are a range of plants from something like Artemisia absinthium, which is absinthe, basically, and contains thujone, so it's hallucinogenic, but it was also an abortifacient for women, and that was part of the reason it was banned in much of Europe and the States in the early 1900s. We have yarrow, which is Achillea millefolium. That is a weed, basically. Most of these plants are weeds, which I love because weeds grow freely and they're just there for people to take. They don't have to pay for them. It kind of can empower people without having to cross through the whole capitalist exchange system. So yarrow is interesting because simply holding it to your head is supposed to align your chakras. The Druids used to rub their eyes with yarrow for clairvoyance. Tobacco, we have sacred tobacco, which is grown from seeds that I sent over from America that are approved and blessed by the First Nations. I felt was very important to have here because we are in Tabakalera. And then in the back, in a darker room, there are 3 drawings, I call them drawings, that I did with plants. So I had done all this work about plants. And I was like, oh, it's so awful. I'm always just about the plants. Like this kind of installation is very like controlled, and it's like forcing these plants to grow in a place they don't want to grow. And I was like, I really need to do something with plants. So I took canvas and I encouraged these plants to grow on the canvas, and I put numerous seeds or seedlings. And not all of them wanted to do the project, so they died. But there were a few that were game. And so I took them through a whole cycle from growth to maturation to senescence in the fall. Some were annuals, meaning they died at that point, and some were perennials, so they just kind of dried up and went into waiting. So I took them through the whole process and uncovered the canvases, and they were still damp. I could see, if I had really bright sunlight, I could see all these like subtle colors. So I matched those colors just to like normal old paint swatches. And then after they dried and everything, the colors became kind of more subtle. But what you see there is both the drawings with the plants on the canvas, and then there's colors on the wall, which were the colors that I saw when they were first uncovered. So basically the plants are responsible for all the color you see back there. And I have it in a dark room just because I kind of like the idea insinuates being with the roots underground, because all the action on the canvases are from the plants, from them giving out chemicals, taking in chemicals, minerals in the soil, who knows what the water has in it, you know. Most places I've exhibited really have a lot of roots in the kind of global art world. And you feel like here, it's a more insular conversation. It's just a different context.